The East Coast Thunder at Sydney Dragway has so far been the upset Thunder. Right across our professional categories, we've seen favourite after favourite fall by the wayside, opening the door for a multitude of first-time winners. And the likelihood of upsets could potentially continue as the two-wheeled categories of 400 Thunder in Pro Bike and Top Bike take centre stage. One thing is for certain, anything can happen in 400 Thunder professional drag racing, and it usually does. Welcome back to Sydney Dragway and the East Coast Thunder event. We've seen the pro categories of cars. Today's show, it's all about two wheels. We've got the pro stock bikes and we've got our Nitro monsters, the top fuel. These bikes, absolutely unbelievable on Nitro. Well, pro stock bike, we had a really great finale to the season at the Winter Nationals. It was won by Morris Allen, but he's not here to defend the title. He's in the US racing. Jason Hedges is with one of the contenders.
I'm down here in the Pro Stock Bike Picks with Glenn Worcester. And Glenn, first race of the season, and you've got a pretty loud and leery looking bike and trailer over there.
Yeah, no, the Rhino's going well actually. So, things are heated up this weekend obviously for me. So, it was a good trip up in 36, 37 degree heat, and we've got the bike ready to go. So we're going to go out in the conditions and have a crack anyway. So
yeah, she's a bit warm out there today. So is there anything we do with these Pro Stock bikes if the track conditions go this way? What sort of changes do you make to these things to make sure you can put all you can down to the track?
With the air and that the way it is, we're probably going to struggle. So, all we can do is sort of put some fuel in and sort of hope for the best. The wind's not bad here, so that won't be probably a factor. But as long as I can hit all my shift points and that, we'll have a fair crack, keep the throttle wide open.
I think Glenn Worcester will also be looking to take advantage of the fact that defending champion Morris Allen is over in the USA racing the American circuit at the moment. So, after finishing on top, Allen not here to defend his championship. Corey Butterkeg, Brad Lemberg, Andrew Badcock, Glenn Worcester. They were the main contenders, and it's all going to come down to who can really get on top of this heat, because Mark Allen, we're near 40 degrees.
And not only that, that means the track temperature is actually higher than that. It's actually over 50 degrees on track. These bikes with the one slick here, going through the burnout, it's about finding the tune-up to suit these conditions. Their first hit of the weekend. These riders and crew chiefs and that will be looking to get down the track, get some data, because it's the unknown of how the track is going to, how the bikes are going to handle on this track.
Well, Glenn Worcester and Daniel Rabnott are the only two bikes that have come out for this session. The others have elected to sit it out and wait till things cool off later in the afternoon. And I'm not sure. I think Worcester's got a problem there. He has shut down the Rhino bike, so it'll be Daniel Rabnott on his own for this qualifier.
Yeah, Worcester getting pushed back there. We'll find out what happened there with that team, but they'll come back out in Q2. You're right, these conditions, racing tomorrow, round one of racing, will be very similar. I would have expected to see all the teams here in Q1.
Let's see how Rabnott goes. Little bit of spin off the line there, Mark.
Yeah, he takes it through. 736, 284 kilometres per hour there for Rabnott. That's a great pass there for the team in these conditions.
Yeah, that's a lot quicker than I would have expected. Have a look at it off the line. You'll see it black track a little.
And that's the biggest thing with the pro bikes, is that first 60 feet, and that's their tuning window. So a lot of the riders, they actually take timing out of the engine, so they retard the engine on the hit there, take about 60 to 80 horsepower from the bike, then apply it back down the track, and if you get it wrong, you get a little bit of spin, as we just saw there for Rabnott.
Well, it worked well for him, because that qualifier, he's got the data from that. No one else came out. Moving now into Q2, and it'll be interesting to see. Yeah, it looks like Worcester's got the bike back in action, Mark.
Yeah, good to see. I spoke to Glenn after that qualifying session number 1. They actually had an ignition switch failure on the start line, so they've sorted that out. They're back here for Q2. I'm sure they would have liked a little bit of data, though, from that hot track in qualifying session number 1.
The proverbial $20 part.
That's it. And we can see Glenn Worcester now going through that burnout procedure. The interesting thing here with the bikes, they do their burnout in 3rd gear because that's the strongest, largest gear in the gearbox. So the other gears are a bit smaller, weight reduction wise and all that. They find that the strongest and the least to break through that burnout procedure.
Yeah, we've seen the transmissions be a little bit fragile on these bikes now. They've gone to bigger engines, more horsepower. And the problem with any drag racing vehicle, you make more horsepower, you find the next weak point in the chain.
And the thing with pro bikes, they've got a weight limit there as well on the bikes with the rider, so they're always looking for weight breaks, things to make lighter, smaller. Sometimes that means it might be a little bit weaker.
Yeah, we saw Morris Allen on a serious weight loss program before he went to the USA. All of these guys are jockeys. Worcester certainly making advantage of this one. A little bit squirrely down the bottom end. 761, 255. Not smooth at all. 789 for Lockie Island. But boy, he was hanging on to that.
He absolutely was. Have a look at the replay here. He got a little bit out of the groove at the top end. So when you get out of that groove, the cars run down the middle of the racetrack. And obviously that's where the maximum grip is. But you sort of get out of there. You can see the shiny stuff there. And any sort of little bump or anything can just unnerve the bike and starts to spin the tyres, and you get that little shake and wobble, and Worcester through a finish line there.
Wow, from the drone we see Luke Crowley into his burnout. One of the races that didn't come out in that first session. It has cooled off by only a few degrees, Mark, but it can be enough to make a difference.
It definitely can. Any sort of drop in temperature is a positive thing for us drag racers here this weekend at Sydney Dragway, because when you're talking 50 plus degrees track temperature, it can really make this track greasy and a bit slippery, especially for the pro bike boys.
Well, this man was looking to dominate the final round of last season up at Willowbank Raceway's Gulf West Oil Winter Nationals. He raced this bike in the US in the NHRA circuit, then brought it, shipped it home, and was absolutely under the record, looking ready to smash everybody up there, and then got timed out, red lit automatically in the semi-final. What's he got for us here? I sat up early, Mark, way early.
Yeah, that was on a really good pass for Crowley, 779, 219 kilometres per hour, but I'm not sure what happened because the bike was under power, was in the middle of the groove, and then he sat up. It's not usually a good sign on these bikes.
Well, that bike should be well over 300 kilometres an hour, and on the replay, the first half looks good.
It did look good, like he was in the middle of the groove, under power, like it was settled. Usually once you get past like 100 metres out on the racetrack and the bike is settled, it's just a matter of hitting those gears, and not for Crowley this time. He was up early, so we'll have to find out what happened.
So after 2 rounds of qualifying, it's Daniel Rabnott from that very first pass. He's on top from Glenn Worcester, Luke Crowley, Lockie Island. We've only got 4 bikes, so it'll be the all-run system. Top bike coming up now here at Sydney Dragway for the East Coast Thunder. Q1 is what we'll be looking at. 7 bikes entered. There's the man, Jay Upton. He won the opening round of the championship up at Hidden Valley Drag Strip in Darwin. There's his points lead over Chris Matheson, the defending champion. Les Holden and Tony Wood. Well, Matheson, he'll be keen to get his title offence back on track here at the East Coast Thunder. Rusty Gregory's with him in the pits.
Mate, let's talk about the championship. Chris Matheson, 5-time national champion. How does that feel?
Good. It's very satisfying to win 5. It's early stages in the new championship, but we've got a bit of work ahead of us, so we've just got to keep chipping away at it.
It's going to be a tough deal, though. This weekend, you look at probably one of the biggest top bike fields we've seen for a long, long time. 7 bikes in the field. It's a really good mixture of the 4-cylinder Nitro bikes, the Harleys, and also the nitrous bikes. Who's your biggest competition?
Probably myself.
There you go, short and sharp. Nothing like putting yourself up for punishment there. Why do you say that?
Oh, well, we're only as good as what we do with the bike in the setup. So you really, all the other guys are quick and they're a threat, but if we don't get our house in order, we're just not competitive.
That's the sound of multi-cylinder, supercharged, fuel-injected motorcycles. Certainly sounds like Jay Upton and Chris Matheson. Matheson on the Nitro Voodoo. And our championship leader from Western Australia, Jay Upton, with his new sponsor, Specialised Equipment Express, on the bike for the first time. Oh, Mark, parachute.
Oh, I just saw that in the burnout. The parachute's come off on Jay Upton. The crew working feverishly there in the background on the chute.
Well, that's smart work there by Doug Green, his crew chief. He's disconnecting that. The top bike by the rules doesn't have to have a chute, so it's disconnected. He should be right to run.
He should be right here. You're right, the rules don't say anything about the parachutes on the bike. We know a few of the Nitro Harley boys don't have the parachute on the back of their bikes as well, so...
if that had been a car, you'd be out.
Yeah, you can see Doug letting Upton know that his parachute's no longer there.
Well, Chris Matheson on the Nitro Voodoo bike. He's trying to get that title defence back on track after having not the best of it. Jay Upton being told to shut it off. Doug Green is questioning people. No. Being told to shut it off. Jay's still got the bike running. He's trying to say, I can run. But no, he is shut down, and Chris Matheson launches on his own over to the wall, shuts it off, and he's just going to roll the bike through, but he'll end up with a qualifier. 985 is not what he wants, but he's on the board. Jay Upton's not.
Yeah, there's a bit of talk going around the bike here of Jay Upton.
It just seems to me, Mark, that, it's not connected to the bike. By the rules, you don't need a parachute.
I don't know the rules back to front, but as far as I'm aware, that the top bike guys don't need a parachute.
Well, not sure. There's plenty of discussion about it, that's for sure. Rusty Gregory's in the middle of it.
Yeah, guys, so just to clarify what happened with Jay Upton. Okay, so we saw what happened. The parachute came out in the burnout. The crew went to disconnect it. They showed Jay, and he was all set to make the run. The call came from the meeting director to shut the motorcycle down. The reason for that is because under the rules, any safety equipment that is fitted to any car or motorcycle must be operational. Okay, so safety equipment must be operational. It is not a requirement of that bike to have a parachute. However, because it was fitted with a parachute, it must be operational as the bike goes into stage. That's the ruling. That's the decision that was made, and at this stage it looks like everybody's going to go back to the pits and come back for round 2, guys.
Well, that will be controversial, Mark, because it was no longer fitted to the motorcycle.
It was no longer fitted.
But you can't knock a meeting director for making a decision based on safety. But I think from a technical point of view, there'll be discussion about that for a long time.
Definitely. We move into the next pairing now. We've got a couple of Nitro Harley V twin bikes coming forward.
Yeah, great to see Chris Porter back in the mix in Top Fuel bike. And in beside him, of course, is Adam Layton in this Gulf Western Oil APL Performance Bikes Harley. Puts big pressure on himself, Adam, doesn't he?
He does. He's got a strong following on social media. He's very confident, and he expects big things from this team and this bike.
I'll tell you what, Chris Porter gave him a lesson in hole shots, but Porter with a problem on the white bike, and Adam Layton doesn't go too far into power either.
It sounded like they had a drop cylinder on both sides of the racetrack in both bikes there. And basically what happens there in the Nitro Harleys, they've only got 2 cylinders, so if they turn the tyres, like we just see there for the back of Chris Porter, what happens is the tyres turn, the engine revs come up, throws more fuel into the cylinders, and when the bikes come down once they come down and stop spinning, you've got all that extra fuel inside the cylinder, it puts out the spark, and that drops that particular cylinder. You see a bit of raw fuel come out of the pipe at the same time on that particular cylinder.
Yeah, these nitro engines just love to be working under load. If they break traction, there's no load, and they just tend to misfire, or as you say, drop a cylinder where one cylinder will stop firing entirely. Now, isn't it great to see this guy on a Top Fuel bike? It's Gavin Spann on the Noodle Box multi-cylinder bike from Brisbane. Former winner in Top Bike back when he ran a nitrous oxide injected combination probably 20 odd years ago. Had a breakaway from the sport. Now he's come back looking to put down his first qualifier.
And speaking of nitrous, the bike in the lane beside Gavin Spann is another nitrous injected bike, Michael Dwinger for Penrite Oils here in qualifying session number 1. And the amazing thing about Top Bike is it's one of the last unrestricted categories in drag racing. We've got the nitrous bike over there. You've got the supercharged bike of Gavin Spann. The Nitro Harleys here this weekend.
Throw in turbo bikes if you want to run a turbo.
Yep.
That's all legal. Basically, run what you brung and hope you brung enough.
A lot of these guys have too much horsepower.
Dwinger looked a little unsettled on the shift there, but Gavin Spann's going to pop the shootout early and still run a 7:38, 256 kilometres an hour. 870 for Dwinger there, but certainly looked to get in trouble at the end of low gear, I think, Mark?
Yeah, it looked like. Let's have a look at the replay here for Michael Dwinger. He got the bike off really strong. The wheelie bars are real square there. The bike just, he might have had a bit too much power there and spun the tyres, bounced up a little bit. He took it through here in Q1. But Gavin Spann, he got off the line really well, actually, so they had a real strong pass here. You can see him at half track, still on the throttle. And just rolls off just before 1,000 foot there and rolls through for that 7:38 pass.
Well, Gavin Spann, quickest pass of Q1. He's in front of Adam Layton, Michael Dwinger, Chris Matheson and Chris Porter. Now Q2. It has cooled off a long way. The sun has set. We've probably dropped about, what, 8 degrees or so, Mark?
Yeah, that it has, and it's going to really help these bikes get down the track a lot quicker than what we saw in Q1, especially for the team of Michael Dwinger here on screen. These guys are running a nitrous-injected bike. Now, during the day, once temperatures get over 35 degrees like they were today in Q1, and the heat can really affect the bottle temps there, the density of the nitrous expands and potentially can lean out these bikes, where obviously leaning out can lead to explosions and things you don't want to happen. So now that the conditions are cooled down, it really helped this team here on screen. Adam Layton for the APL Performance Bikes. He's ready to go.
He was impatient. He said, I want to go. I've done my burnout. I'm ready. Michael Dwinger just getting through his procedure and edging forward towards stage. A good pickup on that heat, because if the bottle pressure's up, it means it's going to put more nitrous oxide into the engine. If you put more nitrous oxide, you've got to put more fuel in with it.
Exactly. Now, we can see Layton, he was already in full stage. He's really waiting. He's gone. I don't know if he's waiting for the green light there.
He got out. It doesn't matter in qualifying. He's off the throttle again in the deep end. A 762, just 221 kilometres an hour. Dwinger still comes out of the hole so hard with an 883, but it's not getting the full quarter mile in, Mark.
No, not sure what happened to Dwinger. You can see Layton, he just wanted to get that bike out of there. Obviously, the longer the bike sits there, more temp is building up inside the engine, the clutch and all that, so he wanted to get that bike down the track. But Michael Dwinger with issues just off the start line again. We can see Dwinger to the right of screen. He gets off strong and the bike starts to not play the game with him. Might have overpowered the track there just off the start line. He rolled through for that 8-second pass.
Yeah, I've got to think maybe it's where the next stage of nitrous comes in or something
Possibly.
like that. It's just not staying settled for him. Well, Gavin Spann is our number one qualifier at the moment from his performance in Q1. And of course, Jay Upton, he just looked unbeatable up in Darwin at Hidden Valley Dragway for the opening round of the championship on this bike. But he's one run behind now. He's got no data from that first pass. So that just puts him behind the 8 ball a bit compared to all of the other guys.
Especially when you've got a team like Jay Upton here, they've got way too much horsepower for the track. So it is about calming the bike down and trying to apply all that horsepower they've got. And we're talking, 1,800 to potentially 2,000 horsepower on the bike of Upton's, trying to get all that through the one rear slip, off the start line, across the finish line at over 350 kilometres per hour. It's a really tough gig, and when you lose that first pass, it makes your day a little bit tougher.
And they've done a lot of work on this bike, a lot of upgrades, and the power output is certainly increased on what we've seen when he last ran the championship series. The word we have is he's going to run all the rounds this year. It's an outright attempt to grab another title for Jay Upton. Great nitro flame off the launch. His parachute's going to be his nemesis this weekend.
What is going on there with the parachute for Jay Upton? It shook out about half track. Gavin Spann rolls through for an 8.52. Upton with a 7.72. It looked good off the start line for Upton as we watch the replay here. The flames up, the nitro flames of Upton there. Overpowered the track slightly. Back on it. The chute pops out. And he's having a bit of fun going down Sydney Dragway. Gavin Spann with issues as well.
Yeah, certainly Gavin wasn't as settled as he was. Let's have a look at the onboard. He gets off it, on it again, and as he rolled off the throttle, that's when the parachute came out. So he certainly has to use a lot of body language on that bike to keep it straight. Gavin Spann stays in number 1 spot. Adam Layton still in second. Upton now on the board in third. Dwinger, Matheson and Porter. But we didn't see Matheson out in that second round. We haven't heard of any problem yet, but we'll certainly be finding out. That's the way they're going to qualify. That's the way they'll be lined up in round 1 of eliminations for top bike here at Sydney Dragway's East Coast Thunder. We'll be back with that after the break. Welcome back to Sydney Dragway for the East Coast Thunder. We've got the first round of racing coming up for Pro Bike. And Mark, it's going to be 400 Thunder's all-run system.
Yeah, we've had a bit of carnage after qualifying, so we're down to 4 bikes in the categories here in Pro Bike and Top Bike. Basically, what the all-run format system is, we see all the bikes come out for 3 rounds of racing. After the first 2 rounds of racing, you get points for winning a round of racing. You get bonus points for quickest ETs. We tally those points up in the 3rd round. We have our finalists, the run-off for the winner and runner-up trophies here for the 400 Thunder Series, and the other riders running off for points.
It means that the fans get to see the bikes or cars more times in front of the crowd, and that's what we love. Well, Glenn Worcester on a bye run here. That's bad news that we've lost Luke Crowley apparently. We saw him sit up on the bike in qualifying. And understand there's some damage. We'll get to the bottom of that later. But this is guaranteed championship points for Glenn Worcester on the Force Wear Group bike.
Yeah, Glenn Worcester, he will get the win points here. This track is one of his favourite tracks in Australia. Ran his PB of a 7.12, so the bike has got the performance and horsepower there. We've seen him run a 7.30 in qualifying so far. He got off nice and strong here on the start line.
Right on down the middle for 7.53, 273 kilometres an hour. Gets him some win points, and that's what he's going to be looking for because he's got that championship in mind.
It was a good pass there for Glenn Worcester in the heat of the day as well for these pro bike riders. And you're on board there in almost 300 kilometres per hour. He's got to apply the rear brakes, apply the front brakes as the bike gets settled, and he gets it around the braking area there.
Here's Lockie Ireland. We're on board in the burnout with Daniel Rabnot. That didn't sound good.
No, there was a bit of a clunk there actually for Rabnot's bike. You see Lockie Ireland going through the burnout procedure now as well, but Rabnot's bike, there was definitely a noise.
It sounded like an engine noise. It sounded like an actual bang.
Yeah, you can see the crew there in the background, and Rowi's off the bike. That's never a good sign.
He's walking away. Daniel Rabnot. We heard something from the onboard camera in the burnout. The bike is shut off. He won't be taking part in this first round race. So Lockie Ireland is going to, take an automatic win on a solo pass and rack up some of those points just as Glenn Worcester did in the previous run.
And when you talk that 400 Thunder all-run format, the bonus points calculations now come into a factor. We've just seen Worcester run a 7.53. If Ireland wants to get the bonus points for the quickest ET of this round, he's got to go quicker than that 7.53.
7.56, oh so close, but he'll have to settle for 7 ET points, not 8. That'll go to Worcester. Rusty Gregory's with our MIA.
Down here with a man who we saw in qualifying but not in the first round of racing, Luke Crowley. What happened, mate?
Yeah, unfortunately, I tagged the limiter in first gear, and whether that unsettled something in the valve train, but we ended up dropping an exhaust valve, busting a piston, probably a little bit too much to try and fix overnight. If we were back home, we'd be able to get to the machine shop and sort stuff out, but a little bit hard when you're a long way away from home and the spare motors and parts back at home as well. So a little bit unfortunate. Teammate Daniel, a little bit unfortunate. Sounds like we just broke a cam chain of the burnout then as well, which is, like the bike was on song. Qualified number 1 was 7:36, so I was kind of hoping we'd go out and run low 20 then, but anyway, these things happen. Parts break when you don't expect them, so that's racing.
Good luck for the rest of the season, mate. Jason, you're at the top end of the racetrack with some of these riders.
Yes, I am, Rusty. I'm here with Glenn Worcester. And Glenn, you must be happy. Look at the smile on your face, mate. How was that pass?
Look, weather's a bit kinder and I'm feeling good, and come through the top that time, left-hand lane, beautiful, it was moving. So stoked. Yeah.
Congratulations, mate. Well done.
Yeah, no, we'll keep going and hopefully have some more fun yet. So thanks, Jason.
Back to you guys.
Well, they're our 2 winners in Pro Bike. Glenn Worcester takes the majority of the points. Lockie Island right with him. Daniel Rabnott gets some. Hope the bike can come back for the next round. We know Luke Crowley is out of it for the East Coast Thunder. As we now move into Top Bike, first one we see is the Noodle Box 4-cylinder of Gavin Spann.
Now, we had 6 bikes qualify in Top Fuel Motorcycle this weekend, but unfortunately, round 1, we've had a bit of carnage here in Top Bike. We're down to 4 riders left in the field, Rob.
Yeah, Chris Porter trouble with his bike. He's had to withdraw. And Chris Matheson, the bike's perfect, but he's got a serious back injury. He's hurt his back so badly that he literally is not capable of throwing his leg over the Nitro Voodoo. And this was his critical event to try and get back into the hunt for the championship. It's opened the door so widely now for not only Jay Upton that's up there on top of the points, but this man, Gavin Spann. We know he's consistent.
And in the lane beside Gavin Spann will be Adam Layton on the Nitro Harley. Another rider. He's been in a few finals here at Sydney Dragway over the past 12 months. Still looking for that first event victory here in the 400 Thunder Series for Adam Layton, but they're getting ever so close.
Yeah, Adam's got his own targets, hasn't he? He's really determined to be the quickest Harley in Australia. He knows he's got a horsepower deficit to these big 4-cylinder bikes, but we've seen Harleys win championships before.
Whole shot there for Adam Layton, but the power of the 4-cylinder bike of Gavin Spann. He goes through for the win, runs a great 7:06, 273 kilometres per hour. He gets the win here in round 1. Oh, a little bit of a lock up on the brakes there. Nothing too serious.
Have a look at this bike off the start line. It looks a bit awkward on it.
He's got one leg in, one leg out, just adjusting the balance of the bike using his weight as we watch the screen here. Have a look over at Adam Layton's screen. You can see the raw fuel coming out the side of the bike there. So that's a perfect example there of a drop cylinder on a Nitro Harley. He may have turned the tyres there on the hit to get that drop cylinder. It's right on with Gavin Spann, Rob.
Yeah, no such problem for him. No raw fuel out of that till he shut it off on the finish line. Okay, here comes Jay Upton. Now, I've been waiting for this guy just to get the settings right on the launch, because this bike is just clearly making so much power.
And it's probably to a disadvantage to him this weekend with the track temps that we've got here. Like, they're still pushing nearly 50 degrees on track temp here on race day. Michael Dwinger going through his burnout procedure now on his nitrous injected bike. And, Jay Upton, he's got to watch himself here, because Michael Dwinger, he hasn't got the horsepower. He's got the advantage on these sort of track conditions. Because Upton, he's got to watch that bike. His tuning window is so tight. He can just smoke the tyres very, very easily. Michael Dwinger can sneak on by here. It may look like on paper, a big matchup with Upton against Dwinger, but tell you what, I think the odds are 50-50.
Well, the other thing for Jay Upton is this is his opportunity to put a stamp on the championship, because Chris Matheson is out. If Jay Upton was to win this, he's going to end up with a huge points lead over Chris Matheson. But he has to get the tune-up right. We're going to find out in just a second. And He's got to get out of jail, Mark.
He has, because Dwinger didn't leave the start line, but he just overpowered the racetrack on this bike. You could just see it, just so much power for Jay Upton, but Dwinger with troubles. He didn't even move from the start line. I'm not too sure what happened. The bike sounded good in the burnout, and he didn't move, but watch the replay here. Upton, they call it snapping the cable on the head of the throttle there for the top bike riders. He snapped that cable all right. As we go on board for the replay here of Jay Upton, from behind the bike, you could see overpowered before the 60-foot marker there. He tried to recover the bike as best as he could, Rob.
Yeah, as soon as he twisted that throttle, it was all over. But Jason Hedges is down there with a happy winner.
Yeah, I'm here with Gavin Spann. Gavin, you're through to the next round, mate. How was that one?
Yeah, pretty good. It was a lot better than yesterday. Noisy bugger on a white bike.
So, yeah, you got through that round, mate?
Yeah, it was good. It was 100% improvement on yesterday's run. So, but yeah, it was good.
Looking forward to seeing you next round, mate. Well done.
I think Gavin will take it round by round, because there he is. 28 points is the maximum you can get in round one. Upton, Leighton, Dwinger. They're the four that we've got still in top bike at the East Coast Thunder. Round two of Pro Bike coming up now. And Mark, this is a battle of attrition.
Yeah, we've had a bit of carnage again after that first round of racing. Daniel Rabnott, broken camshaft in the burnout, so that's no good for the team there. So they're out from this round. We've got Glenn Worcester on screen for Foursquare Components to take on Lockie Island.
So we started with plenty. We've ended with two.
Yeah, the heat is not only shredding the kilos from these bike riders, it's shredding the field as well. On board with Lockie Island for Johnny's Hog Shop coming forward. Only 300ths of a second separated these two riders in round one of racing, so we've got a nice close matchup here in round two.
Well, basically somebody's going to pick up 28 points here, and the other rider will get 5 for the loss and 7 points for the second best elapsed time of the round. So it is still critical as each of these races take part. It has big bearing on the championship. Lockie Island over near the wall, out of the groove. He did well to keep that thing off the fence.
But have a look at that. Glenn Worcester, low ET of the event so far, 7:31, 281 kilometres per hour. He gets the win. Have a look at the replay here. Lockie Island porpoising that bike. Usually what that means is the bike had too much power on the hit. It spun the tyre, launched itself a little bit there, went over towards the wall, did the right thing, rolled off the throttle there and took it across the finish line for an 8-second pass.
That's a rodeo job. Have a look at it. He really had to muscle that bike just to keep it off the fence, but it's all Worcester. Picks up more points. Man, he is going to be enjoying this start to his Pro Stock motorcycle season as he just runs away from the wildly bouncing Lockie Island.
And he didn't even get off the throttle either there for Lockie Island. He stayed into it. That's a great pass there for the team. We have a look at the points there after round two. Glenn Worcester on top with 56. Lockie Island second with 39. Rabnott and Crowley rounding out the bottom two.
Round two of Top Bike coming up. There is Adam Leighton, looking a bit animated. He's calling the crew over. We can hear the bike in the other lane starting. That's Jay Upton. But it looks like Leighton's got a problem with this Gulf Western Harley.
Yeah, having a look at the crew there and where they're positioned on the bike and looking, it looks like the box that carries all the ignition and the timing settings for the clutch and so forth on the bike. Maybe someone's bumped the switch, activated the timers by accident, and they've got to get in there and reset it all. That'd be my best guess at the moment from here in the commentary box.
One of 8,000 possibles, but a pretty good guess, I would suggest.
Just by looking there, yeah, I would say
that's
so.
That's where they were. Good
exactly.
Call. Good call. Meanwhile, Jay Upton, that bike sounds oh so strong in the burnout. We've seen him on the last two runs of his. Snaps that throttle open with the wrist and the tyre just seems to just break traction instantly. So they will have to be working with the clutch department with their timing to try and calm it down. Jay Upton is out there well and truly through his burnout and still no Adam Leighton. This is going to be close.
This is going to cut it tight there for Leighton. You can see them priming the bike up with the methanol there to start it on the methanol before they switch it over to the nitro. Now we know Upton's been on the track for a while. He's gone through his burnout procedure. Adam Leighton's probably going to do a short, sharp burnout here, get the bike into stage. You can see Upton, he's already down near that pre-stage area over the side of the screen. Adam Leighton now going through that burnout procedure. The good thing about the Nitro Harleys, their staging routine is very, very short, so he should be able to get straight into stage here pretty quickly. And the added benefit is he's not going to get too much heat in the bike, which is obviously it robs the bike of horsepower and can affect the tuner settings as well in the clutch, so forth. So that is an added bonus for the team.
Jay Upton, he is into pre-stage, pulls the visor down. Have they got the tune up in the bike this pass? No, and neither has Adam Layton. Lots of raw fuel at the right-hand side of that bike again. But you have to say, Jay Upton's team has to be getting very frustrated down there.
Yeah, back here on the start line with Doug Green from Jay Upton's crew, mate. Not the way you wanted to make that run. What happened? It sounded like it was sitting there for a long, long time while he did the sportsman-like thing and waited for Adam Layton to come in.
Yeah, Rusty. We come here to race, mate. We're racing against ourselves. We really want to put a show on. We've got a corporate box up there tonight with Wear Parts Australia and Special Equipment Express, which you could be abbreviated, as you see by the front of the bike. So, yeah, we come here, we really want to put a show on. Look, these things are hard to work with, mate. They're tough bikes. Sometimes they start, sometimes they don't. We just do our own thing, mate. We're ready to wait. We're happy. Looks like it broke a blower belt, so usually that's a detonation or a tyre shake thing. We'll go back and have a look and come back out and give it a fair crack in the last one.
All right, mate. Going down to Jason at the top end.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I'm here with Adam Layton, mate. Did you get down and were you happy?
Yeah, I got down there really good. I probably ran a bit too much fuel and turned the tyre a bit, but I've got a setting now that I know I can keep and work on, so yeah, I'm really happy.
Fantastic, mate. Well done.
Yeah, it was good to race against Jay Upton first time, so yeah, it was someone you grow up watching and you get to race him, so hopefully we can put a better run on for the final.
Good job. Back to you guys.
Here comes Gavin Spann, the noodle box bike. He has fired the bike in the hands of the starter, thumbs up to us in the commentary box and says, yep, you've got it. I've got a solo pass. That's all I have to do to be declared the winner. He can't get any ET points, but he is the winner.
There you go. You can see high fives there from the team. You won't get an easier win there for Gavin Spann. Let's have a look at the points here after round 2 for top bike. Gavin Spann on top with 48 points. Adam Layton second with 39. Jay Upton third, and rounding out the top 4, Michael Dwinger.
It's not the top bike bracket we would have picked, but we've got big finals coming up at Sydney Dragway in top bike, in pro bike. We're going to bring you all of those straight after the break. Welcome back to Sydney Dragway's East Coast Thunder. We've got the finals coming up in Pro Bike, the final of Top Bike coming up. But the East Coast Thunder also saw rounds of the Australian Championship Series for a number of the Sportsman categories. In Supergas, Warren Smith and the Chev Beretta won a tight double breakout battle with fellow Victorian Graham Spencer in his Corvette Roadster, when both ran quicker than the category's 9.90 second fixed dial-in. Junior Dragster is contested over a 200-metre distance by youngsters aged between 8 and 17, with speeds reaching over 120 kilometres an hour. At the East Coast Thunder, we saw Jesse Barnes in the far lane get 900ths of a second handicap start in the final and hang on for the victory over the fast-closing James Sarkis in the Lloyd's Classic Car Auctions Dragster. Supercharged Outlaws is one of our fastest sportsman categories. It features a variety of vehicle styles, all with the common element of a supercharged V8 engine. Jim Holly led off with the start in his funny car ahead of Sean Lifting at the wheel of the Speedflow Products T-Bucket, who was then able to pressure Holly into running too quick than his nominated handicap time, which saw Lifting claim the gold. Pro Radial is an exciting new class, providing explosive racing on a multi-round, all-run format over the 8th mile distance. While almost anything goes in the engine department, the tyre size provides a limiting factor. The East Coast Thunder title came down to a spectacular final, with Simon Krieger's nitrous oxide injected Tirana nudging ahead of Dale Hellier's twin-turbo Commodore in a ridiculously close race. Super Sedan is contested by full-bodied cars running between 8.5 seconds and 10 seconds flat. Local racer Leo Georges fought his way through a tough field in his cool V8 Chevy-powered Escort van to earn his spot in the final, beside Queenslander Patrick Barron in the Chev Beretta. In his effort to stay in front, Barron ran 0.02 of a second quicker than his 9:38 dial-in, breaking out and handing the win over to Georges. The two-wheel dial-your-own handicap equivalent is the modified bike category. Here the final came down to a clash of Sports Turf Services racing teammates Michael Beaton and Alan Annis on a pair of fast Suzukis. Unfortunately for Beaton on the blue bike, he left the start line 19,000ths of a second too soon with a red light, handing the gold Christmas tree and championship lead to the flying Alan Annis. Extreme Bike is definitely a walk on the wild side with massive turbocharged power on tap in bikes featuring long swing arms to stretch the wheelbase, but there's no wheelie bars to keep the front wheel down. It's up to the rider's skill to control that power, and Alex Borg is one of the best on his Suzuki. He ended up on a solo pass in the final after Leonard Azzopardi lost fire in the burnout. Our last Sportsman final was the performance category of Superstock. New South Welshman John Kuiper qualified 5th before driving the wheels off his D-Gas Commodore to get through the rounds and meet top qualifier Jason Simpson of Queensland in the final. Kuiper's run came to an end with a red light, leaving Simpson to cruise his G-Gas automatic Ford Probe to an easy win.
Okay, we move back into the finals now for the Pro Bike category. And there's a rematch of round 2. It'll be Glenn Worcester to take on Lockie Island here. Obviously in round 2 we've seen Worcester run that low ET of the event so far with that 7:31. Lockie Island got over towards the wall on that pass, but he stayed in all the way through for an 8-second pass. We've seen him run a 7:50 so far this weekend. The weather has cooled right down, Rob.
Well, it certainly has compared to our 40-odd degree heat in the middle of the day. Now, Lockie Island for Johnny's Hog Shop and Glenn Worcester. He is looking to cap off what's been a perfect weekend for him so far. Some of the heavy hitters out early or not even at the event, and Worcester's been making hay while the sun shines, so to speak, on the Foursquare Group bike.
It is the first round of the championship for the Pro Bike categories here. Rolling the bikes into pre-stage.
This is to decide who gets the gold 400 Thunder Christmas Tree trophy from this event and the championship lead. And it will be Glenn Worcester because Lockie Island tried too hard on the lights, red lit, left too soon, and automatic loss for him. Worcester a 7:47, 2:59, and maximum points for the event.
That's a great way to start the championship there for Glenn Worcester. Lockie Island, he threw everything he had it here on the start line. It was a little bit too much there, left the red light on the tree. It was actually a pretty close race there across the finish line. Worcester getting the win. How about that in Pro Bike? Onboard footage there, absolutely spectacular.
That's going to set things up for a great event. The next round of the championship up at the New Year Thunder at Willowbank Raceway in January, and we'll see some of the heavy hitters back as well, and Worcester's going to carry that right through. He's got to be happy with the way the weekend's panned out. He's down with Jason Hedges.
Thank you. Got Glenn Worcester down here, Pro Stock Bike, East Coast Thunder champion. There you go, mate. What a fantastic weekend.
Yeah, look, I've got to thank Foursquare Group, mate. Like everyone that's worked on the bike and got it here, and it's been great fun riding it this weekend. It's put us through our paces with the heat, but this is wonderful, fantastic.
Mate, you made great passes all weekend. You should be proud of yourself.
No, thanks, guys. And once again, just thanks to Trevor Birrell and all our team. They've been great.
There you go, guys. One happy man.
Have a look at the 400 Thunder Championship points. Glenn Worcester on that perfect weekend, out in front of our runner-up Lockie Island. Daniel Rabnott with 25 points, and Luke Crowley, well, 20 points isn't what he would have come here hoping for.
Okay, we move now into the top bike final round. First up, running for points, Jay Upton, of course, in the all-run format. We see all the bikes come back around here in round 3. The next pairing will be our final matchup for the trophy, but on track, Jay Upton.
This has been an event of upsets. You would not have expected Jay Upton not to be in a final, and we probably, we wouldn't even expect him to not run either.
You've cursed him, Rob.
Start the burnout and the bike stops. And it hasn't been Jay's event, but, well, he's going to leave here with some championship points and probably still the lead, but this is the guy that has been making a move. We're talking about Gavin Spann on the Noodle Box bike from Queensland.
He moves forward through his burnout procedure. Now, his procedure is a little bit longer than Adam Layton's. Layton in the background here. He'll watch Gavin Spann go through the burnout. Once he pulls up, Layton then starts priming the bike, getting it started on the stand so the back wheel is spinning. He'll sit down on the bike now. The boys will lift it off the stand.
And the vibration should stop and we'll lose our disco lights. It's a great effect, that's for sure.
That's great. And Adam Layton will now go through his burnout procedure as well. The guys on the Nitro Harley really want to do a short, sharp burnout. What they want to they want to get any heat inside that bike and the clutch and that before they get into stage. So they minimise it there in that burnout routine. Like Gavin Spann on screen, getting pushed back by his crew. You can see the 4 pipes there for the 4 cylinders on that bike. Adam Layton, the 2-cylinder bike, the V20, he's got a pipe on either side of the bike.
Well, Gavin Spann in the second round did a smart thing. He had a solo, he came up, went into the hands of the starter, claimed the win, but didn't run the bike. We've seen so many bikes break. He said, I can guarantee a spot in the final. I'm going to do it that way. And here he is. He's got a shot at a gold Christmas tree. And it will be a fantastic victory for either of these guys. Adam Layton for APL and Gulf Western comes out with the flames up. I thought Layton was going to do it for a minute then, but it will be that man, Gavin Spann.
Low ET of the event in the final for Gavin Spann, 6.80 seconds, 276 kilometres per hour. He gets the win. Adam Layton, he had a race. He was right beside Gavin Spann early on in the pass. Then something has failed on the bike. He had to shut it off. Have a look at the replay here of Adam Layton. Look at the flames on that Nitro Harley either side. You can see the raw fuel there coming out after he buttoned it off. Not too sure what happened. That's a lot of fuel though there on the back of Layton's bike.
Yeah, have a look at this front on. Spann had no problem. I was looking at Layton there. Both cylinders went out at the same time, so it wasn't his normal problem. Something else happened on that run. Well, Gavin Spann's going to be the winner. It is a Noodle Box victory for Queensland.
Yes, guys, down here with Paul from Gavin Spann's crewmate. Gold Christmas tree, take the win in the final. Not a bad way to end your trip to Sydney.
Yeah, it's pretty good. We've been struggling all weekend. It's good. It's good to get a win.
It's good, and it's good to put on a show in front of this fantastic Sydney crowd as well. They've come out in droves to support the event, and to put down a 6-second pass, that puts a big smile on your face. Yeah,
we probably haven't been as quick as we should be, but Nitro's a different game.
Top bike, East Coast Thunder winner Gavin Spann. That's yours, mate. What a fantastic weekend.
Yeah, thank you. Yesterday, well, it started off not too good, but I mean, it was the same for everybody, the heat. But today come along really well, and final was good, so unreal. We were very, very, very lucky. We shouldn't have run today. We had a look at a cam chain. It was half split, so it could have blown up. So if that would have blown up, it would have been carnage. So we took a risk, so fantastic.
So sometimes in drag racing, luck is better than speed, and fantastic, mate. You should be proud of all your efforts.
Yeah, thanks to my great team and my sponsors, Noodle Box, Craig Thompson Machining, and Torco Worlds Battery Wheel. Thank you very much. Bye.
Well, that explains his strategy in round 2. He was just nursing that bike. He took the risk and he's won the rewards. Jay Upton maintains his lead in the championship, but Gavin Spann's been the big mover. Adam Layton in third. Chris Matheson's got some ground to make up from there. We've got big rounds of the 400 Thunder Series coming up in January. The next one, the New Year's Thunder at Willowbank Raceway on January 5th. We've got Top Fuel, Pro Slammer, Pro Alcohol, Pro Stock Bike. Then the series returns to Sydney Dragway for the Santos Summer Thunder. We're talking January 18 and 19, Top Fuel, Pro Slammer, and a full round of all the Sportsman. We hope you've enjoyed all of the action of the East Coast Thunder. It's going to go in the history books as probably the upset Thunder. We'll be back with you next time from Willowbank Raceway's New Year's Thunder.